Hey everyone, welcome back to Hit Wicket. I haven't done one of these videos in a long time, but I decided to get back into it, so I'm gonna do another all-time 11. Today I'll be doing the greatest ODI 11 of all time that I've seen play. So that's a little disclaimer there that I would have had to watch them play. Don't get angry at me if I haven't included some of your old legends. Let's get into the team. So openers. There was probably 4 real candidates that we had in Sachin Tendulkar, Matthew Hayden, Hashim, Umlah and Rohit Sharma. Sachin has to get in there. He has the most runs. He has the most runs in World Cups. He has a brilliant average. He has 10,000 centuries or whatever it is. He's a legend of the game and he scored lots of runs against strong attacks. So he has to be in the team for me. Number 2 was a tighter pick. For me, it was between Hashim, Umlah and Rohit Sharma. Both have similar-ish records. Hashim averaging 49.5, Rohit averaging 48.6, still playing obviously. But I went with Hashim Umlah. He scored runs against a lot of good attacks. He was the fastest to like 4, 5, 6, 7,000 runs. I think 8,000 as well. He was one of the first ones to show that with a strange-looking technique, you can still get runs. And he did so in a prolific fashion. Look, Rohit Sharma was very close to making my XI. The only thing that made him bow out was his very apparent weakness to left-hand in-swing bowlers. If I put him in my XI, the other team would just play a left-arm in-swing ball and get him out quite cheaply on most occasions, which for a player of his caliber, you'd expect him to have nullified that weakness, but I personally don't think he has. Now, my middle order of 3, 4, 5 had some huge names in there that I could pick. We had Ricky Ponting, we have Virat Kohli, Kumar Sangakkara, Jack Kallus, Michael Clarke. For my number 3, it was a real close tussle between Ricky Ponting and Kumar Sangakkara. Both pretty much average the same. There's like a 0.04 difference in favor of Ricky Ponting. Kumar Sangakkara has, I think, 500 more runs, so their records are very similar. But for me, I have to go with Ricky Ponting. When I was growing up, I saw him bat so much. That 2003 World Cup final where he obliterated an Indian attack and showed the true sheer dominance of Australia in ODI cricket. He captained them to 2 ODI World Cup victories. He's a brilliant captain. He's a brilliant batsman. Not playing down the Sangakkara wasn't a good batsman. Sangakkara was also a very good batsman too. But in their primes, I probably prefer Ricky Ponting only just. I think Sangakkara's longevity was really good though. Sangakkara was still very good towards the back end of his career. In that 2015 World Cup was his best World Cup, and that was when he was the oldest. It might also be because I'm Australian, so I probably biased towards Ricky Ponting, but Ricky Ponting is my number 3 and he is my captain. Number 4 was probably the easiest pick of the team, Virat Kohli, averaging close to 60, got a crap load of tons, got a crap load of runs, and he's still playing, so he could go well on to beat a lot more records. No one's average comes close to his, especially for the amount of time he's played the game. Of course, he's been lacking a bit in his later years now, but he's still doing decent. He's still getting 50s. He just hasn't scored that 100, but he walks into this side for me at 4. At 5, I think is probably the most underrated cricketer in history, in ODI and in Test cricket, and that's Jack Kallus. This man has over 10,000 runs and he averages more than Kumar Sangakkara, more than Ricky Ponting, just slightly under Sachin Tendulkar, and on top of that, he averages just under 32 with the ball, nearly with 300 wickets. Now, that's basically having 2 cricketers in one. Jack Kallus, he's the same in Test cricket too. He beats most of the actual legends batsmen's averages, and he can bowl too. He's definitely the most underrated cricketer I've seen. Somehow, a lot of the time, he skips discussions for being the greatest cricketer of all time. But for my mind, he's definitely up there in the top 3, if not the greatest cricketer of all time. Because he can be picked as a batsman, he can be picked as a bowler, and he's an outstanding slips fielder too. I have a lot of praise for Jack Kallus. He's a really good cricketer, and he ended his career even on a high, getting hundreds still in all formats. So he's my number 5. He offers me versatility with the ball and the bat. Then at number 6 and 7, I have a couple of really strong finishers. There were a couple of options out there, but I think the 2 options that stood well above and beyond were AB de Villiers and Michael Bevan. Both averaging in the 53s. close to 54. Having AB de Villiers at number 6 following that strong top 5, he can score me 100 off 30 rocks if he can emulate that, or even 100 off 60 rocks. In the last 10 overs, I could easily get 130 with these two at the crease. And Michael Bevan, well, he's the saviour of innings. He's saved Australia so many times in that 2003 World Cup, in other games as well. He's brought Australia back from the brink and won them unwinnable games. So I think these two would work in really good tandem, in a really good partnership. They'd complement each other and get They'd get this XI side to a really good and strong total to finish off the innings. My 4 bowlers I went with, at number 8, I have the great late Shane Warne. Obviously, recently Shane Warne passed away. It was really saddening news. Let's look back at his cricket. His ODI career was an outstanding ODI career. He averaged around 20, just under 26, got close to 300 wickets. He was an influential cricketer if ever I've seen one. If you've seen that 1999 World Cup where he spun them to victory in the semi-final and in the grand final, he was a huge, strong member of that Australian invincible sort of ODI side that they had throughout the late 1990s and the early 2000s. Of course, his shoulder injury sort of cut short his ODI career. I'm sure he would have gone on to do even better and greater things, which he did in the 2005 Ashes. His telling effect on a match was as apparent in ODIs as it was in Test matches. So he comes in at number 8 for sure in my side. And at number 9, I have the other greatest spinner of all time, being Murali. Murali is a great bowler. He's really good in Tests and ODIs. I can't separate him and Shane Warne. They have to be both in the side because they're both game changers. They've both bamboozled batsmen for close to 2 decades. Murali's record speaks for itself. He averages only around 22 and he has the most wickets of all time in ODI and Test cricket. Very few batsmen really figured out his doosra. He was one of the only bowlers who could bowl a doosra legally. Nowadays, you see a lot of off-spinners try to bowl a doosra and they all end up being illegal actions. Now, my 2 seamers to close it out are 2 more Aussies. I might be a bit biased there again. I know there's the likes of Wasim Akram and Waqar Younis, but again, I didn't really see them play that much. I've seen some clips, but for me, these 2 Australians were really influential, even in my upbringing, watching them play, watching them be a dominant force against any side, and that is Bretly and Glenn Mcgrath. First of all, Bretly, he bowls 150 plus, can bowl even 160 when he was in his prime. He can be my real intimidating factor as a bowler. So if a batsman struggles against short stuff, he's going to get it from Bretly. And then you have the completely opposite bowler in Glenn Mcgrath, the ever-present, the efficient, the metronomic style of bowling from Glenn Mcgrath. Performs in any conditions, just lands it on a good length again and again and again, and eventually works over pretty much all batsmen that he bowls to. He works them over eventually. My all-time 11, I'll replay it now for you. So opening the batting is Sachin Tendulkar with Hashim Umlah. Number 3, I have Ricky Ponting, who captains the side. Number 4, I have Virat Kohli. Number 5, I have Jack Kallus. Number 6, I have AB de Villiers. Number 7, I have Michael Bevan. And then my 4 bowlers, number 8, I have Shane Warne. Number 9, I have Murali. Number 10, I have Bretly. And number 11, I have Glenn Mcgrath. After I just said that 11 in my head, probably Bretly would bat ahead of Murali, but whatever order, they can choose between themselves. So that's my 11. Now it's time for you to tell me what your all-time greatest 11 for ODI cricket is. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of my team. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.
Calm before the storm, things aren't as they were.